Hey everyone, Travis here at the very end of day two. Actually, it's not even the very end because there's a match happening. I'm losing it. I'm joined by Pobelter. Pobelter, right?
Pobelter.
Pobelter.
Right?
That's how Kobe says it, and you've said that that is the way to say it. Can you say it?
Pobelter.
Well, wait. Now okay. Pobelter or Pobelter.
Pobelter.
You have managed to just hang on and keep yourself attached to this LCS spot. You're going to be staying in. EG will be around for the summer. How nervous were you guys going into that match against C9T?
I don't think we were nervous. We were really prepared coming into it, and we really didn't think that we would lose coming into it, and that if we screwed up, then we just have to clear our heads, make sure we win the whole series and don't get caught up over one game.
So is that what happened in game two?
Yeah.
Now, what was the screw up on your mind in game two that caused you guys to lose that?
Steven basically just got like way too hypey, and he just like started jumping on people when there wasn't any vision and like flashing and going crazy, and then he'd just get turned on and die because they had Soraka and they just started healing people.
A little too solo queue friendly, I guess.
Yeah, he was a little aggressive.
Now, I think it was game three that you decided to turn the tables on Bishu and take his beloved Nidalee from him. Why so BM?
Uh, well, picking Nidalee there was a really spur of the moment thing. Like I haven't played that in scrims in over 2 weeks, so that wasn't really something I planned to have in my repertoire. But it just seemed good because they didn't have any engage, and we already had a pretty good poke comp thing coming together with Morgana and Elise.
So that was the decision there. Now you good friends with Alteg, I think, and maybe Yuzuki, maybe
Me and Izuki are acquaintances.
acquaintances. All right, maybe friends with Bishu,
Friend, and yeah,
but very close with Altec.
yeah. Me and Altek are really good friends.
What was it like stabbing him in the back?
It felt great. I plunged the knife and tore him in half.
No, but really, is there any part of you that's like, oh man, it kind of sucks that we had to beat these guys?
Yeah, I mean, it's a really bittersweet victory. They weren't necessarily the team that, on a technical level, we were afraid of, but like on a personal level, they were the team I wanted to play the least because I knew that keeping them out would hurt me the most.
Emotionally,
Yeah,
scar right here and now.
yeah, yeah.
Physical one from when you got upset and you're like, oh.
No.
Sorry, sometimes the metaphors and the literal stuff just merges together. Do you? You guys had a hard time. You guys kind of had spring split. To be realistic, was kind of a bit of a race to the bottom between you and XDG for a bit. How is summer split going to be like the rise of EG?
I'm not in high school anymore, so I can practice a lot more. That's actually really huge because high school was taking up so much of my previous time, like 8 hours a day. It's time that could be spent playing or thinking about the game. So I have that on my side now.
You are considered maybe to be the most mechanically skilled person on EG right now. So does this mean that like now that you're out of high school, you're just going to unleash and become the faker of that team?
Yeah, that's exactly what it means.
Wanted to be sure. No, are you? So you're not going to do the university thing for a bit then?
Um, Honestly, it's a decision that I still haven't made a 100% decision on. But right now it's looking like I want to take a year off.
When do you decide?
I guess if I have to decide by May 1st, that's when I send in my statement of intent to register, or that's when the deadline is, but you can rescind on that, actually, and basically you just lose like $100 cash deposit or something.
So you have to decide soon. You know that you're in now. Why don't you just decide now?
Wow, I wish it were that easy.
What? Well, I mean, what are the major thoughts on your mind, like to balance and decide? What it's going to be.
Mainly it's the pressure from my parents. They just want me to go straight to college. You've had your fun playing video games through high school, but you should really, just focus on having a really solid future and like I can understand it where they're coming from because when they were growing up, it's really the stereotypical Asian immigrant story. When they were growing up, they didn't have much. They went to college, but they weren't able to get a good job when they moved to America, and they just want my sister and I to not have to go through the same struggles as them and just, suck it up, bear with it, go through college, get a solid job, and just live a happy life.
And are you concerned at all? Like, I know there's been several stories of a little bit of estrangement at all between like parents and pro players who decide to stick around in the LCS or competitive play. Is it going to like come down to something like that, or is it going to be just sort of them being like, we're disappointed, son?
I wouldn't call it disappointment really. My parents are supportive of me no matter what I decide to do. You know, if I want to be like a male model in Europe, I'm sure they'd be okay with that.
Is that like the third option that you?
You know, if I reapply after a year, don't get into any colleges, and move into Germany.
You could also be a sub for the EU LCS as well, I guess, if you're in Germany.
So yeah, they said they've been supportive. They would be supportive of me, and even though they would encourage me to just go straight to college, if I do decide to pursue league, then they wouldn't, they wouldn't pull like a double situation on me where he isn't really too familiar with his family anymore.
In the switching back a little bit back to the games, did you? It feels like EG looked a lot more confident in those games, or especially in the last two, I think, and you guys just played a little bit more solid. Is that just because, like, more than we normally see from you guys in the LCS? Is that just because Cloud9 Tempest isn't on the level of the other LCS teams, and so you guys look a little bit better, or is this like an actual result of an improvement for you guys as a team?
It's really a lot easier to look good in front of players who aren't on the same level as you. You know, that's why you see like these bronze people in Twitch chat saying, wow, this challenger player sucks. I could probably beat him. Yeah, there's just so many subtle nuances to the game that if you're a better team, then you'll take advantage of, and that lower level teams don't really know this.
One of the players in the LCS that is on a team that is in North America that begins with a D, but will otherwise remain anonymous, told me during those matches that he felt as though C9T might have the edge just because Season 4 was so much about communication, and he felt as though C9T maybe does a better job of communicating. So a little bit of two questions. I hate to make the super complicated, weird, two-tailed questions, but first one is, do you think that that is a fair assessment of Season 4, that so much of it is around like communicating in the late game, and that's a big necessity for teams? And the second part of that question is, did you guys have better communication today? Do you think that that was like a reason why you guys were able to win?
Yeah, Season 4 is definitely a lot more about team play instead of individual play, because individual leads don't get you as much. With like the ambient gold is a lot greater, and there's just been a bunch of changes to prevent individual snowballing. And actually that's kind of what I like most about the game, being able to carry the game by yourself. Right. So Season 3 was my favorite time to play. Fortunately, that time has come to pass, and it's a lot more about teamwork. Sorry, can you repeat the second part of your question?
Yeah, the second part is, do you think that that was what allowed you guys to win today? Like, do you think that your communication in game was maybe better than C9T's? I mean, obviously you couldn't hear, but do you think that the communication that you guys had today was a major role, or do you think that that might be an issue for you guys?
Well, I mean, I guess it's hard to judge whether one team's communication is better than another, but I think it's clear that our teamwork was more on point and cohesive than theirs was, and that's why we won.
Good stuff. Any plans now that you guys have a little bit of a break before the split comes back?
I'm not sure. Do you actually know how long it is between now?
So I think it's about 3 weeks.
Personally, I have not made any plans yet. I'm sure everyone else is still deciding, because now, I mean, we just got in, so now it's decision-making time. I'm sure that all the Europeans and Tyson, who's a Canadian, will go back to their homes for a bit until we come back and start practicing for the split. You know, maybe I'll go fishing with my friends or something, or go on a hike, because having to juggle around high school and all of this, there's not much time to hang out with my friends.
Do you like fishing? Because this is the first time I've ever heard an LCS pro player suggest that they might go fishing.
I've never been fishing before, actually, but it seems really relaxing to me, you know, kind of cathartic.
Were you invited to go fishing?
I was invited to go fishing.
Like, are you going to go out in the ocean or a lake or a river?
I think just like by the pier, you know, on the beach.
So sort of relaxing.
Yeah.
So like a situation where if you were 21 years old, because I know you're not, because everybody knows you're a youngster, there you'd be sort of kicking back and drinking some Coronas, yeah?
That's illegal, and I do not
I just said that if you were 21.
Travis Gafford, I do not promote illegal activity.
Well, I was not either. I was just suggesting if you were 21. My God. So you're very straight edge Pobelter. That's what I'm getting. Or Pobelter.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes. That sounds incredibly enthusiastic. Yeah, I could tell. All right. Other than that, any exciting things for you in the future? I feel like people were somewhat disappointed by the lack of you being involved in the music video for EG, right? So, what anything in your future that's kind of cool, fun, neat?
I'm graduating in 18 days. That's pretty cool.
Where's the graduation ceremony going to be held and at what time and what date, so that like the LCS fans can show up and cheer you on as you walk across the stage?
I'll pass on answering that question.
Okay. Tweet it out later though.
No, 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 no.
Well, good to see you care about your fans, Pobelter, Eugene. You have any shot?
It's Pobelter.
What?
It's Pobelter.
Okay. So then Kobe pronounces it wrong.
Yeah.
Okay. Pobelter is wrong.
Oh, yes, that's right.
Eugene.
Yeah, Eugene.
You have any shout outs, plugs, anything you want to say at the end of this interview?
Shouts out to my dad. He's a really cool dude. Shouts out to my mom. She's a really cool person too.
Who will completely understand if you decide to put off college.
Totally. Yeah, that's about it.
Okay. Just keeping it simple. Well, thank you so much for the interview, Pobelter, Eugene Pobelter. And I looking forward to seeing you play in the LCS next split and to see the shackles of education that have kept you down and your mechanical skills, much lower than they normally are, just to release you into the wild so that you can become North America's next top mid laner.
I'm literally going to be better than Faker at League of Legends. Literally.
Okay. Well, there's the Reddit headline. You can check out the rest of our coverage of the LCS and more at allgamers.com.